Okay, we'll get started in just a few moments. Just wait until we hit quorum. Alrighty, folks, we are at quorum. Thank you all for being here. Do appreciate it. And yeah, let's go ahead and get things started. All right, so I call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. And let's go ahead and start with our agenda. So do we have any amendments for our agenda today? Nalaya.
I'd like to add a voting item as new business, the academic leniency request letter.
Do you have a motion to make it a voting item?
Can I motion? Okay, cool. I motion to make it a voting item.
Second.
All right, Nalaya motions, Megan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10-0 vote, that is approved. And then can we promote Adam whenever you get a chance? Somebody with hosting abilities. Thank you. Okay. And then Sujana, is that for another amendment?
Yes. May I please strike TGMF? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And then let's go to Eva.
Can we please strike Rose grant allocations, please?
Yep. And then Alicia.
Hi, I need ARC striked. I will try to get anything approved via Slack or email later this week.
Okay. And then let's go to Lucy.
Can we please try capital contingency?
Okay. All right. Any other amendments? Going once, going twice. Okay. Let's go ahead and have a motion to approve the agenda. Please.
I motion to approve the agenda for the Tuesday, April 30th, 2024 USAC meeting.
Second.
Who was that? Megan?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I motions, Megan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please raise your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10-0 vote, that is approved. Okay, and then we need to approve the minutes from last time. Hope everyone got a chance to review those from 4/23. And then can I have a motion to have those approved?
I motion to approve the minutes from the Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 USAC meeting.
Second.
Second.
Line motions, Megan seconds. Well, Sarah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. All right, with 11-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we will go ahead into public comment. We're gonna open up public comment at 7:07 p.m. So remember our community guideline, challenge ideas, not individuals, gender inclusive and respectful language, freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes and the opportunity to speak once. And remember to use no dehumanizing language. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and get public comment started. And then we can just go with hands raised or yeah, perfect. So if you're here for public comment, please raise your hand. Okay. Gonna go ahead and start with Natalie?
Hi, everyone. I wanted to introduce myself as the new CalPERG chair. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me. We do quarterly updates every quarter because of our contract with the university, and we also do public comments pretty regularly, like every week. But yeah, nice to meet you. You'll see me in person. But yeah, that's all.
Thank you. All right. Taji, please correct me on the spelling, the pronunciation of your name. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ty, Taiga, and I am speaking as a member of the Student Labor Advocacy Project, or SLAP, which was one of the organizations that helps with the DSU resolution as well, for COVID safety practices. Yeah, and I just wanted to speak in support, specifically from like a student labor lens and stuff like that. A lot of the things that we're pushing for in this resolution include worker safety protections like sick pay, which are really, really basic, benefits that student workers currently don't get. And so, yeah, we're asking that student workers, as part of a larger COVID safety and like disability safety protocol, be given things like sick pay and stuff like that, which I think should be guaranteed rights for all student workers. Yeah, and I wanted to just like uplift that resolution and stress the importance that we're really showing solidarity and really prioritizing the safety of our disabled students and each other and our workers, etc. So yes.
Thank you. Zaijun, please correct me on the pronunciation of your name.
Hi, this is, you can just call me Carrie. I'm a signatory for Sifen Chinese Theater Group on campus, and I'm here asking about CAC funding because we have not received a reply since February 12th, and it's about like $800, and I'm wondering, is there a way to reach them? That would be it. Thank you.
And then can you put your information, a good email or contact info into our Q&A section so that we can copy and paste it for later?
Okay, I'll do it.
Thank you. Okay. And then we will go to our next public comment. Arcata?
Hi, I'm actually giving a public comment with Daniela as well, who's in this meeting. Are they able to unmute as well?
It's per person. So sorry.
Okay, yes, so I can give my section. I am an autistic individual speaking for the Autism Advocacy Club. I'm also speaking about the DSU resolution that the Autism Advocacy Club supports. So sick pay and hybrid learning, for example, are extremely helpful for me as a disabled student on campus. It takes longer for me to recover as a disabled person. And these accommodations are necessary for me to succeed academically. The university has continued to push aside the needs of disabled students, and this resolution would really support my personal needs as a disabled individual that struggles with severe overstimulation and meltdowns due to my disability. Having proper COVID-19 regulations, sick pay, and supporting the sustainability of disabled students on campus is proper community care that all disabled students deserve to receive. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll be going to Daniela.
Hello, I'm speaking about the DSU resolution as well on behalf of Autism Advocacy at UCLA. We just wanted to say that we stand in solidarity with the demands outlined by the Disabled Student Union and the Student Labor Advocacy Project at UCLA. The issues raised in the resolution reflect the pressing need for action to address systemic barriers and ensure the safety and health of marginalized communities. The ceasing of regular communication about COVID-19 on campus is concerning, particularly for marginalized groups and disabled people. These communities have historically faced barriers for accessing education about infectious diseases and healthcare, which has led to disproportionate health disparities and heightened vulnerability to severe outcomes from COVID-19, and the unexpected dissolution of the infectious management team and the discontinuation of updates on COVID-19 protocols are adding to the challenges, making it difficult to maintain consistent, clear communication about infectious diseases at UCLA's campus. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll go to Alejandra.
Hi, can y'all hear me? Okay, so hi, I'm Alejandra, undergraduate alumni class 2023, and here to comment how imperative it is for USAC to support the resolution to ensure UCLA's community health, safety, and wellness in response to COVID. What happens at UCLA affects all of us. COVID is something that happened in one infection in one country and ended up affecting millions. We're not living in a bubble, so it is imperative and crucial for our for any school and for UCLA to pass this resolution to support in not only stopping the spread of COVID, because in and of itself, it is a mass disabling and fatal virus that has killed millions of people and still is. It also has to, it's interconnected with all of our other struggles and issues. It is connected with how the pandemic itself is rooted in white supremacy, colonialism, and eugenics and ableism, the way that it has gone unmitigated in the government's response to it. It's all interconnected with the other issues we have at hand. It's a labor issue. It's a issue regarding for trans people too, because it disproportionately affects transgender folks because of how the lack of resources that we have to access any test and mask and so forth. So this is like an issue that, to put it like briefly, there's a lot of intersections, and it is very crucial that it is passed and supported, and that the campus, knowing how I saw how back in 2021, the campus could easily put in isolation and put in masks and rapid tests and vending machines and so forth. There was so much that was taken away from us that can be put back in place and should have never been taken away. So hope that all makes sense, and thank you for letting me comment.
Thank you. And just a reminder, public comment as detailed in our bylaws is only for members of the association, which means current undergraduate students. So just wanted to say that for going forward in public comment session. So yeah, we will continue on to Gwendolyn.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, everyone. My name is Gwendolyn. I'm a current undergraduate, and also I am here representing both the Disabled Student Union at UCLA and the Student Labor Advocacy Project. I just wanted to read you all the statement that we have, our joint statement on this resolution. For the past 4 years, the DSU has tirelessly advocated for accessibility and COVID-19 resources and protections, including the strike for our safety with the mother orgs in 2022. This past fall, the DSU's resolution that was passed unanimously through the USAC, called a resolution to ensure UCLA's health, safety, and wellness in response to COVID-19, was passed with the support of numerous diverse student groups. Since then, we created a $10,000 health promotional initiative in partnership with the Arthur Ashe Center, the USAC Student Wellness Commission, and the UCLA administration that has brought free, accessible, high-quality respirators to over 25 different sites, replaced outdated COVID-19 signage with revamped signs, and resulted in updates to the UCLA website. However, outside of mask provisions and updating signage, many of the demands of the resolution of the fall remain unmet. And additionally, while DSU was focused on the health promotional initiative, UCLA's infectious disease management team disbanded in December without notice to the UCLA community. And then immediately afterwards, the United States experienced the second highest surge so far in the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, right during winter quarter. And despite DSU's repeated requests, the UCLA administration refused 4 times to send out a campus-wide Bruin Post announcement. And so in year 4, we're seeing the drastic effects of COVID-19 and disability on campus, both in classes and in our workplaces. Millions of people have died and continue to die, and millions more are becoming disabled. And in the face of worsening climate crises and environmental disasters, we have to prioritize prevention of disease and protect our communities. Disability rights and workers' rights are one and the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will move forward with Hannah.
Hi, are you able to hear me? Okay. Hi, this is Hannah. I am part of the Student Labor Advocacy Project, and I'm here also to support the resolution that we both worked with DSU. I just wanted to uplift the previous comments where we talked about how this is essential. COVID affects disproportionately our minorities. It's not only people who are immunocompromised and have different health conditions, but it also affects queer people, people of color, and the vast majority of UCLA are made up of these groups, but it also impacts people who are low income. And I wanted to provide my own family story. My mom and we are part of a low income family, and my mom during the pandemic was unable to stop working because she had to provide the to pay the bills, and she did not have anything as sick pay, sick leave, and my mom got COVID and unfortunately had to keep working. And when she got COVID, she was almost became paralyzed because the effects on her was just really bad. And now she still has long COVID. And I just wanted to express that a lot of people aren't able to afford to stop working because it's just not an option to them. And I wanted to uplift that a lot of the student workers will be impacted by this. They should be able to have sick pay and sick leave to be able to take care of themselves and not put others at risk. So I wanted to uplift this and just highlight that as Gwen said, like worker rights and disability rights are one and together, and this resolution would provide such safety through different mitigation layers, and it's essential for UCLA to commit itself to its values of inclusion, diversity, and safety. So I just wanted to, I hope that you take into consideration how this would resolution would impact so many people here at UCLA. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Malia. And okay, let's go to Layla.
Hi, yeah, Layla here. I'm a former ASUCLA worker at Jimmy's. One of the main reasons why I decided to quit because we do not get any benefits, including sick leave, sick pay. Um, Student workers come in sick all the time because they cannot afford to miss work. And I found out by checking my UC path that I only accrued 12 hours of sick pay after working 3 years at that job. Um, back in June last year, I had COVID, and my manager tried to force me back into work after 4 days with me still testing positive. There is no excuse why the university continues to harm us as students and why we don't have ways to get efficient testing, to have sick pay and sick leave as student workers. There are people constantly sick on campus, and if they do have COVID, they do not know where to go or what to do. Why are we paying money to get rapid testing, which isn't even updated? And we can't even afford it's like $20 at the ACCLA store. Why are we forced to pay more stuff at this university while we continue to get sick? We can't miss class because there's no support for that either. And yeah, if the USAC, if you all already passed the first resolution, I don't think there's any excuse why you shouldn't pass this because this also affects you as students. Yeah, I am in full support of this resolution, and we should be protecting one another from illness and having the resources to treat that illness. And yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Chiara?
Hi, my name's Kiara. I'm a student here at UCLA, and I also live on the Hill. Um, I am in full support of this resolution. As someone who has to constantly go to class, there's always people coming to class coughing or sick in some ways, and and as a freshman last year, I was constantly getting sick, and now they've removed PCR testing from a lot of the halls on campus. You can only access PCR tests by going to Deneve, which isn't accessible for a lot of people. And a lot of the places to turn in tests are only on campus, also making it very inaccessible for a lot of students to regularly test. Also, masks should be provided to those who need them, and it shouldn't have to come out of students' pockets to ensure that their health and their community's health is safe. Yeah, it's very hard to try and go to class knowing your classmates are sick or that people on the hill or around you have COVID. I have heard people say that they have COVID and they are unmasked, prancing about on the hill. I also know a lot of students who are typically queer and people of color who have been displaced on the hill because there is no housing for them to go to when their roommates contract COVID. And so I'm in full support of this resolution. People have been unhoused because of COVID and have been very much displaced because of this university's lack of support of its students. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving forward, we have Harrison.
Hi, can you hear me? Awesome. Yeah, so I know an earlier public comment, I mentioned this a similar story for us. I'm here as a representative for VSU, the Vietnamese Student Union. Specifically, I'm the fiscal head for the 44th annual Vietnamese Culture Night, which was hosted in mid-January, January 15th. We were allocated $2,000 through the ARC CAC fund back in like fall or winter, and we submitted a requisition for it early February, and we just haven't heard back since then. We're kind of at risk for having these funds expire before the rec gets processed. Our event was back in January. And we did follow all the steps that were instructed for us to submit this requisition. So just want to notify here, I already sent my info into the Q&A chat. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for sending your information. So sorry that that occurred. Okay, let's try Malia again.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you? Okay. So I am currently an undergraduate student here at UCLA who is coming to stand in support of the DSU and SLAP resolution, particularly as a student who has had friends who have been severely impacted by the long-term effects of long COVID. I, in the past year, have had a roommate who has been sick with COVID but has had nowhere to go in terms of anywhere on campus or another community resource. And she has been a student who has been out of state, so she has not had any other form of housing nearby and has had to allocate funds from her own account for her. And additionally, it shows a severe need for resources for students who have COVID to be able to house themselves and to be able to rest and recuperate in this times. I also recognize, given that it is now week 5 of spring quarter, that receiving a positive COVID test has severe implications for not only being able to be present within classes and other student engagements, but also for student workers, especially those who are underserved, whether it be from communities of color, low-income communities, and other student workers, that this presents a severe compromisation on their plans. And additionally, I believe that there continues to be a need for resources for students to be able to check their COVID positive status, not only, as others have mentioned, on campus, but also within the local community. Other resources that are present within the mother orgs, as well as the community programs office, have offered tests, masks, and other resources, but those are often not advertised strongly enough among incoming classes as well as other components within the community. And I believe that the points presented within the DSU's proposal will help with addressing our communities as well as ensuring our continued safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Doreen?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name's Dare, and I just wanted to emphasize that I also agree with the resolution. COVID is still real, and everyone has already touched on a lot of important problems happening at the university regarding student health, so please just take these requests seriously.
Thank you. And then to our last public comments. I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but we can just permit speaking.
Hello? Can you guys
Hello.
hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
so you guys should support this resolution because according to the UC, y'all value like the safety and health of your students, and clearly this is not being done. How are there students walking sick and infecting other students and remaining unhoused? That is not justifiable. Something needs to be done. So please pass this resolution. Y'all already passed another resolution about this, so y'all have the time and dedication to do so. Please support disabled students, fucking support student workers, and do your job. Okay, bye.
Thank you for your time. All right, that concludes public comment at 7:29 p.m. Thank you all for coming and discussing the various issues occurring on our campus. I do appreciate it. So now we will go ahead and enter funding, starting with contingency programming. Lucy.
Hello. Okay, so I just want to preface that last week my proxy wasn't able to make it, so we weren't able to present those allocations. So I'll present 2 weeks of allocations today. I'll go ahead and paste it in the chat before I start to say it. Sorry, I'm gonna pull it up. Okay. I will paste this in the chat right now, but okay, sorry. Okay. Last week we had a total contingency programming request of $49,034, and we recommend an allocation of $14,225 for 50 non-USAC entity related events. And then this week we had a total contingency programming request of $88,130.18, and we recommend an allocation of $18,273.99 for 54 non-USAC entity related events. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I also have put all of those on the universal funding sheet on the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, so we will need 2 motions for last week and then this week. So can I have somebody motion for for last week?
I motion to approve of the allocation of $14,225 for 50 non-USAC entity related events for last week.
I second.
Megan motions, Elias seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 9-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Okay, now for this week's allocation, can I have someone motion for that?
I motion to approve the allocation, contingency programming allocation of $18,273.99 for 54 non-USAC entity related events.
Second.
Megan motions, Elias seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With an 11-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think we will have a motion to unstrike something. Can we get that squared away? Alicia.
Hi, could I unstrike ARC allocation? Unstrike. Yeah, unstrike ARC allocation so I can actually ask to have them approved. Thank you.
Can you say I move to unstrike ARC?
Oh, yes. Can I move to a motion to unstrike ARC allocations? Thank you.
Have a second. Alicia motions, Megan seconds. Well, raise your hand. Or was that Eva? I'm so sorry, y'all. But yeah. Okay.
Megan.
Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. Okay. With a 10 to 0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Okay, so now we will go to our next on the list, which was going to be SFS allocations.
Hi, everyone. So for SFS allocations this week, we had a total requested amount of $12,911 and a total allocation of $7,024.26 to 5 USAC entities and 7 non-USAC entities.
Thank you. Is there any opposition? Okay, that's approved. Appreciate it. SWC Programming Fund allocations?
Hi, everybody. This week, the SWC Programming Fund received no requests from USAC entities and then a $900 request from 2 non-USAC entities, and we recommend $0 in allocations.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition? Okay, then that is approved. Amazing. Going to Bruin Advocacy Grant. Eva?
Hi, everyone. We got a total request of $20,921. And we recommend allocating $5,329 to 6 non-USAC entities. I dropped it in the chat.
Appreciate it. All right, any opposition? That is approved. Moving forward, we have ASRF allocations. Sujana?
Yes, this week AAC allocated $2,120 to 5 non-USAC entities.
Thank you. Was there any opposition? All right, that is approved. Moving forward, we have ARC allocations. Alicia.
Hi, for our first spring cycle, we allocated $40,000 to 20 non-USAC entities.
Okay. And then, was there any opposition? Okay, thank you. That is approved. Moving to TGIF.
Hi, y'all. The Green Initiative Fund allocated $781.08 to 1 non-USAC entity.
Thanks. Okay, now we have BOD allocations.
Hello all. For the spring 2024 surplus BOD cycle, we received 212 applications, of which the approved are not posted on the authorization sheets. 5 applications are from USAC entities, and we have allocated a total of $63,644.68.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody need time to go through that list of BOD application? All good? Okay. If so, let's do a motion to approve those.
I motion to approve the spring 2024 surplus BOD cycle allocation of $63,644.68.
Second.
All right. Megan motions, Eva seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. All right. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10 to 0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Okay. And then we'll go into our special presentation. Do we have the elections board updates?
Milan will not be here right now, but she asked me to put an announcement for us, just to let us know that the AACCLA Embrace referendum has not passed in the GSA election last week. So it will be non-binding. Oh, can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you, just quiet.
Okay. The GSA in the GSA elections, the AACCLA Embrace referendum did not pass, so it'll be an advisory vote on our ballot, meaning that it will be non-binding. It's just to kind of get the opinion of what students think. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Megan, for the update. Okay. Cool. And then we don't have any appointments today, Megan?
I think I will try to get them in either through email or next week.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Now we'll go into officer reports. I will keep it short. So I've had a few meetings, other committee meetings have been canceled last week, so didn't get to do much there. I met with Dominique to discuss the parking permit grant and making sure all of the surplus allocations my office received are followed through on, so we can make sure we close out the year. We had a UC Council of the President's meeting. I had a meeting scheduled today, also with Vice Chancellor Monroe Gordon and other folks in administration to talk about various things, especially with the encampment and protests happening on our campus. Unfortunately, that meeting was canceled, and I do have a lot of questions for UCLA and how counter protesters were able to reserve a space, purchase a space, how we have an ongoing loud amplifier machine causing so much distress. In addition to that, wondering why somebody was allowed to purchase a space right behind another encampment, which we knew would elicit violence and harm students, which did occur on Sunday, especially to our students of color in the various videos I've seen. And exactly what Janice is saying, we're set up to fail. And not even it, and also, as people are saying in the chat, it not being a student-led counter protest, it being an outside organization protest that was able to raise $50,000 in a matter of 2 days, $60K in a matter of 2 days. Oh, not y'all was throwing out numbers. Okay, but I have so many questions, and for that mean to be canceled, definitely hurt, especially as I definitely want to do what I can to support students. So I will be trying to get that rescheduled expeditiously, as I know there have been recent news that have just been emailed to students that I also have qualms with. And I hope to work with you all, especially the academic leniency, because this is affecting so many students, even my own students as a TA. We had a midterm on Friday, and I had students emailing me there to see what we can do. So I'm happy to support where I can, but I just wanted to let you all know that as well. But we'll go ahead and move on to Megan.
I will keep it short. Oh yeah, the chat is going crazy. The Housing Relief Fund is open until May 7th, so please advertise that. I'd like to get in as many applications as possible before we start going over them with financial aid, the financial aid office. Just to let you know, the UCLA Transportation Department will be giving a 30-minute presentation next council meeting about parking fees, I think. So please be prepared for that. I saw Chancellor Jean Block's email just a few hours ago. I'm very disappointed. Honestly, yeah, like the chat is saying, a lot of these students, I'm glad we have all these things on new business today, just to show support. I'm hoping everyone is doing okay, and staying safe, and I'd like to support as much as I can. With that, I'd like to pass it on to Eva.
Hi everyone. I hope you're all staying well and staying safe. The big stuff for me is really just supporting folks on the ground. And obviously with the chancellor's letter, like, I don't know, we're kind of all at a loss for words right now, kind of scrambling in the EVP office to see what we can do to, at least get admin a little bit to back off with that kind of statement and the other Bruin post I think that went out today, or not Bruin post, but like the Bruin alert that went out today. Um, so obviously I think the encampment has kind of swallowed up most of the stuff that my office is up to. But beyond that, I want to shout out Francis in my office who led the UCLA delegation to the transfer lobby day last week. We got a lot of engagement from legislators on our Instagram too, in addition to really successful lobby meetings. So that was really well received. And lastly, we're doing one final state lobbying push with our Lobby Corps students May 22nd. To do some state level lobbying in the LA region. So if you're in Lobby Corps or people who are, just please keep an eye out for that. And again, yeah, just hope you all stay safe and let me know if you need anything.
Okay, and then we will go to Jonathan.
Hi everyone. Let me turn on my camera real quick. Hi, I hope you're doing well. I'm wearing contacts, so I look a bit different. That's why. Firstly, well, of course, well, I'll get to that in a bit, but I kind of want to go on my updates first. Just real quick, my office had a variety of events. I'm very excited that we've been able to get that going. We had a lot for the Latinx students in particular. We had a Latinx caucus last Wednesday where we discussed the importance of elections. We discussed the funding opportunities and so forth. We had HSI there to kind of discuss about the upcoming Latinx town hall. We also hosted an event with IVP yesterday, which was really great. And thank you, IVP. Shout out Maggie. And yeah, we've been just kind of working on a couple things and working on transitionary, but more importantly, my office has co-signed a resolution that I believe we're going to present today with Alicia and Adam, just basically expressing our support. I think as more importantly, we have to remember these are our students, these are our constituents, these are people who are filling our $300 a week paychecks, and we need to make sure we're adequately and properly representing them and their interests. So I really implore you all, if you all haven't had the opportunity to go to the encampment at least once, I urge you to do it just to understand our students and their perspective and their thoughts. I think it's really important to remain in solidarity. And, I think in particular, I kind of want to highlight council members who aren't here, who benefit extremely from obtaining these checks and that refuse to understand the perspectives of our student body and those who are whose fees are going directly to our stipends. I think ultimately we need to recognize, and thank you, Naomi. I want to shout you out as well just for being able to be in communication with admin and kind of push that, because we all saw that email, which is frankly vile and disgusting. Students have the right to protest, and I think especially through the most disgusting, awful things that the protesters have been going through. And I just myself want to express my full solidarity with students there, as well as students protecting, and we keep each other safe, as said in the protest and mobilization directly. So all that to say, power to the students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll be going to Sujana.
Hi, yes. First and foremost, I definitely wanted to echo what many people have said about wanting to show and wanting to express my solidarity with the students who are currently in the encampment and who have suffered a lot of verbal and physical harassment in the past few days. I am also working in my office to do whatever I can to support students, and I am also really grateful for everybody's efforts, especially Nalaya, who worked so hard on the academic leniency sign-on with, supporting students who are just really experiencing horrific things. Besides that, I think just one update is that we did have the resource fair and We're Not Really Strangers take place last Wednesday, and that was a big success. I want to say thank you to IVP, CSC, and Gender 3 for being there, as well as ACUCLA Presents and all the other partners. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Mason.
Hi everyone, all my updates are written today, but have a good day.
Thank you. Next we'll be going to Chiying.
Hi everyone. All my updates will also be written today, but I hope that I just want to express my solidarity with the students at the encampment, and also just highlight that student safety is of the utmost priority during these times. And if council members, if you need my support with like any other things that you guys are working on related to this issue, happy to be kept in the loop and to support whatever you see I can help out with. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll be going to Alicia.
Hi everyone. Where do I begin? Yeah, fuck Gene Block. Fuck administration. Sorry for my language. I'm so fucking pissed off. I am so fucking pissed off. Like I'm sorry for the way I'm speaking right now. This is really unacceptable. I've updated the resolution we have put together on just a little bit to accommodate to the current conditions students are facing right now. I have been verbally harassed so much. And I haven't even faced the worst of it. People have been pepper sprayed. People have been pushed. People have been like physically assaulted. People have been yelled at slurs. Like it's actually really like I can't take it anymore with the way that admin is handling it. And so if I swear to God, like, oh my God, we need this resolution to pass tonight, just like because he needs to see this resolution on our website and know that we are united against what his administration is doing right now. I'm so glad he's on his way out. I have to be honest, like it's actually crazy that he's refusing to even acknowledge what has been happening to students. And I want to make it clear. I know Jonathan encouraged us to come here for you guys to come here, but seriously, do not come here if you're not coming here with intentions to follow community guidelines. If you're not coming here um to follow and be a part of Palestinian liberation. This is not a party. This is not an event. This is literally an encampment. This is action. This is organizing. Please don't come here if you want to check it out or ask people how they're doing. This is not that. This is literally not that. This is people coming together to actually take our university and take our power as students to to end investment into companies funding genocide. And I want to recenter this again, that this is not about us here. This is about people in Palestine. This is about people in Gaza. This is about people in the West Bank. This is not about us. We are facing a sliver of what they're facing. And I want to say that if this doesn't, and there they go again with their sound system. Like, I just want to emphasize, do whatever you can with your office if you genuinely care, to provide resources, that you have available to these students, even if you just have masks in your office, even if you have water in your office, because these are our students, this is us, and if you actually care, and you're here to actually represent students, that's what you need to be doing. I am not doing business as usual. A lot of my events have been canceled. I am not gonna continue with the normalization that UCLA wants to do. I think this campus needs to shut down. I think classes need to stop, because at the end of the day, nothing else matters more than the people in Palestine until liberation is accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. Nalaya.
Hey everyone. Written report this week. I just also want to say that nothing matters more than student safety. Nothing matters more than student safety. And I really, 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 really implore everyone to be doing your research and looking into the footage that has been taken over the past couple of days since the encampment sprung up, and, determine for yourself how exactly things have been going.
Thank you. Sarah? Wait, is Sarah here? No. Yeah, no. Okay, so sorry. Um, moving to Janice.
Hello. My updates are written, and I also want to express solidarity with the students who are putting themselves at risk, who are being the front lines, who are organizing for those who don't know how to or are not able to. I'm really grateful that myself and friends who participated in the encampment and protests earlier in this week made it out unscathed, and I really hope that those who have been impacted are able to heal. And especially for folks like Alicia, I hope what we are fighting for is achieved and that eventually you're able to take time for yourself and just like recover from all of this. And yeah, for everybody, this is just not a normal time, so I hope you're all taking care. That's all.
Thank you. Now we'll move to Megan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. All of my updates are written for this week. But just to echo what has already been said, I also would like to express solidarity with the encampment. I've seen so many videos and I just firsthand testimonies of people who are there, and it's just really sad what's going on and very just disgusting. I think, especially with the email that went out today, it's very unfortunate to only say one group of people are suffering or one group of people is feeling threatened, when in reality, it has nothing to do with like groups. It's just like whoever's there is being threatened. People are being harassed. People are being discriminated against, physically assaulted, verbally assaulted. Like mice are on campus. I don't know why mice are on campus. Bananas being thrown into a place where people are definitely allergic to bananas. It's just absolutely ridiculous behavior. So I do hope everyone is staying safe. And this is somewhat privileged, but I do hope that people are able to take time for themselves after this and able to rebuild what we once had. And it's really sad to say that because in Palestine, that's just not possible. But I just want everyone to stay safe and really make sure they are taking care of not just themselves, but those around them as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam.
Hey everyone, all my updates are gonna be written. I haven't written them yet, but they'll be there very soon. I also just wanted to talk about how we should be supporting our students and their safety, especially on campus. Saturday night, Sunday morning at around 1, 2 a.m., I was threatened with a knife on campus, which is crazy. And it's crazy that no one's doing anything about it. I told multiple security officers. And again, I think it shows how UCLA and administration doesn't care about student safety on campus. So if you're not doing anything, that says a lot about you. But again, this isn't about us. It's about a greater cause. So please do whatever you can to support your students and the liberation of Palestine. Thank you all.
Thank you for sharing that, Adam, and so sorry that happened to you. Um, we'll be moving into administrative representatives, starting with Orlando.
Hello, everyone. I do not have any updates, but I do want to just let you know that I am very sad to hear a lot of these stories that are being shared. I am offering any and all support I can have. My doors are always open. Please contact me if you feel comfortable reaching out to me for anything, from safety to just venting. I'm always here. Please be safe in these trying times. But yes, no updates.
Thank you. Jessica?
Hi, y'all. No major updates. I'll follow up by email for those of you that I need to reach out to. And likewise, just to echo Orlando, if you all need, a space to vent or talk or anything at all, I'll be in the office all week, and please feel free to drop by if you need, just to take some space from everything that's going on. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Lori? Oh, sorry. I just saw the chat. Jonathan.
Hey, hi, hello. Happy Tuesday. Just a quick couple of things for me. Next week is your appointments tabling date in Bruin Plaza. So please look at the sheet that Lori sent out, and please help support that effort so we can assist our incoming folks. I'm sure they greatly appreciate it. Just like a small ASUCLA update, there were 5,000 and oh, can you hear me? Okay. There were 5,086 meal vouchers that were redeemed within 10 days in the union. So it's a lot of food coming in. And the last thing from me is your transition documents. Jack has sent that form out. Please get to that when you can. That will be due on the 10th, which is the last day of elections. The reasoning for that is that on that Monday, I can send those documents over to whoever is newly elected. Your support in that is great. Nalaya, I will have Jack send it out again tomorrow. Thank you for flagging that. Yeah, and then you know me, support is in my title. So please come by anytime or call me, even if you just want to sit in there and you need a spot that's, I guess I can't promise quiet. We kind of get, we don't always stay quiet, but a spot for support. So have a wonderful Tuesday. Please stay safe.
Thank you. Okay, we have no old business. We'll go straight into new business, starting with our first resolution of the night. And that'll be Alicia.
I'll actually be reading it just because Alicia has limited internet. Just because the internet isn't the best over there, so I will be the one reading it. And this is myself, Adam, and Alicia are presenting this. It is a resolution basically expressing our solidarity with UCLA and all universities exercising their pro-Palestinian encampments and actions and their right to peaceful protest. I can read it out, or we can. I know we recently have been working on it, so I can read it out just because I wanted to like discuss this. I don't want it to take up too much time either. So whereas protest and freedom of speech and expression is a right protected by the United States Constitution, specifically in the First Amendment, whereas on April 17, 2024, the establishment of the Gaza Solidarity Encampment occurred on the campus of the Columbia University in the city of New York with the intent of opposing the Israeli occupation of Palestine, whereas on April 18th, 2024, 108 people were arrested, suspended, and or evicted from participating in a peaceful pro-Palestine protest on Columbia University's campus, demanding the school divest from corporations profiting from the genocide of Palestinians in the Middle East. And whereas these arrests were preceded by the university's president's pledge to balance student safety with the right to freedom of speech, but instead the administration escalated the involving the New York Police Department to forcefully clear the protest, which included minimal resistance from students. And whereas the Columbia administration is issuing new waves of suspension to anyone that attempts to pick up their confiscated belongings. Many students have laptops, medication devices, and much more among these belongings. And whereas these escalations taken by the Columbia University administration and New York Police Department include the suspension of students for peaceful protest and a clear violation of the students' freedom of speech protected by the First Amendment. And whereas the actions at Boston University, Miami University, Oxford, University of North Carolina, Ohio University, MIT, and Harvard, where students are walking out of class to protest the arrest of 100 plus pro-Palestinian student demonstrators at Columbia University on April 19th, all show that students are in joint struggle everywhere for the liberation of Palestine and the rights of protectors. And whereas the supposed power of these administrators pales in comparison to the combined strength of the students, staff, and faculty committed to realizing justice and upholding Palestinian liberation on campus. And whereas Columbia is repeating its mistakes of 1968 by bringing in masses of cops onto campus in order to brutalize and repress student speech against its complicity in genocide. And whereas today the University of California boasts about its students that helped bring an end to South Africa's apartheid in the 1990s as a demonstration of its role in social movements and progress, while in actuality the University of California opposed these protests in the 1990s, whereas the encampments set up by the University of California began in the Berkeley campus this past week, soon followed by the establishment of an encampment on the Los Angeles campus on Thursday, April 25, 2020, April 25th by UCLA Students for Justice in Palestine. Currently, encampments have begun to be established on other University of California campuses, such as the Irvine campus, whereas the student-led and organized encampment of the University of California, Los Angeles at the Royce Quad has been confronted with acts of racism, homophobia, ableism, amongst other acts of violence by non-university and non-student actors with the intent to harm student protesters. Furthermore, recognizing the encampment has been victim to physical and verbal acts of assault by these non-university and student actors through acts akin to biological warfare, whereas currently there are over 140 plus active encampments throughout the United States and in universities internationally, with the ultimate goal of disclosure and divestment from the Israeli regime by universities. Therefore, let it be resolved the Undergraduate Student Association supports the national SJP call to action that there should be encampments and deoccupations at every university. Faculty and administration should never expect students to learn as if everything is normal when our institutions are complicit in genocide. And that is what should have been happening from the beginning. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association condemns the violent actions taken against student protesters at the encampment, both by non-university actors and university-affiliated actors alike. And let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council expresses its disagreement with the University of California, Los Angeles administrators on their qualification of the student-led encampment as being unlawful and violating campus policy, as well as in an attempt to increase policing on and around the University of California, Los Angeles campus. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council commits to support students on this campus in the case of similar administrative repression of protests, included but not limited to the swift release of a statement in support of them and using the representative power to emphasize shared governance. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council condemns Gene Block, Chancellor, and his administration's neglect and intentional ignorance towards the violence students have been facing by the hands of Zionists. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council stands with the people of Gaza and the people of Palestine as they experience a genocide and atrocities at the hand of the Israeli regime. Palestine is always at the center of our work. Let it be finally resolved that the liberation will not come from our institutions, it will come from us. It will come from student organizing and community organizing. It will not be televised, it will be under ours. The Undergraduate Student Association Council.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns folks want to raise?
Just thank you.
I want to shout out Elise in particular, for taking the lead in this. I really appreciate the work she's been consistently doing and currently right now as we speak, having place in the encampment. So thank you, Alicia. And if there's no other questions or concerns, I'd like to vote on the resolution, titled a resolution solidarity with UCLA and all universities exercising pro-Palestinian encampments and actions and their right to peaceful protest.
Second.
John, Eva seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 9-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Okay, we'll be moving forward with the joint statement in solidarity with Megan Law.
Hi, I hope you guys can hear me okay. This joint statement was sent to me by a student leader from Barnard College. Columbia and Barnard, actually, a lot of the facts that are in this statement were actually mentioned in the previous or the prior resolution. So thank you, like Alicia, Jonathan, and Adam for that. This joint statement would basically, in summary, stand in solidarity with Barnard and Columbia students who are protesting at the moment, condemning their colleges, administrations, calling on them to protect their students, and calling on our college administration to protect our students. And it also calls to repeal their these students' suspensions, the 108 Columbia students and 55 suspended Barnard students. I think since we just passed this last resolution, I don't really see any issues with signing on to this joint statement unless anyone has a problem with signing on like as a council. I initially wanted us to sign on as a council, but does anyone have any like issues with that?
Are we adding our, oh, sorry, Eva.
Oh, I was gonna have a statement in support. So Naomi, if you have a question and you want to go first, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we added our own paragraph detailing what's happened on UCLA's campus,
I think
or
we probably can do that like as our own statement. I would just like let the student leader from Barnard know that we'd be signing on to this joint statement and then adding our own little part. But we would just essentially be signing our name onto it and then adding like our logo, and then I can post it on the IVP Instagram as well.
oh, I see, I see. Okay, got it. And then Eva.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping that we can sign on as a council. I think this is a great opportunity for us to, join a bunch of other colleges across the nation and showing our solidarity, but also really sticking up in the face of our administrators who don't really have our backs, as evidenced by the Gene Block email that we all got. So I am in support of that, and I'll be seconding or motioning or whatever when it comes time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nola, did you have a comment, question?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Eva kind of said it all. I think now is the perfect for us to show that that we stand with students across the nation.
Thank you. If so, can we have a motion?
I motion to sign on to the joint statement in solidarity with the students at Barnard College, Columbia University, and colleges across the United States as a council.
A second.
Megan motions, Jonathan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With 11 to 0 vote, that is approved. Okay. Before we go into the next topic, I have an ask for votes. Does anybody have Iris's contact information to ask her to come back to this meeting? I have a feeling BOD did not take into account the surplus allocation, like the actual proposal money, when doing the allocations. And yeah, I think this is going to cause problems. But yes, if anybody has that information, I've already sent an email, but in the meantime, we'll go to our next topic, which is the Office Space Allocation Committee allocations.
I think Gio's been promoted, so they can take over.
Yeah, hi everyone. I have since sent the 2024 to 2026 OSAC allocations. I just wanted to first make sure to know because Jonathan had emailed me with a confusion because I had mislabeled the blue as moved. But for the sake of this sheet, the blue is actually vacant. But just a note that I put there, due to the post-COVID-19 lockdown and various maintenance issues, it's abundantly clear that the offices at Kirkhoff present significant safety and fire hazards for students and anyone for that matter. And so this is an urgent matter that requires attention. And given that we have received surplus funding during this reallocation period, we made sure to, or I made sure to simplify the process by basing the allocations on simply availability and assessing each organization's specific needs. And so as you guys consider approval for the clubs and these office spaces, I will be closely collaborating with both the clubs or all the clubs to make sure that there's a smooth transition. And furthermore, just in case you guys are unfamiliar with the reallocation process, organizations that didn't apply or were not approved for their desired allocation do have time to appeal these decisions if they feel that they just weren't notified correctly, or I feel like just given the current climate of things, I think it's been a really busy past couple of quarters. So I just want to open that to a lot of the organizations to know that there is an appeal process. But given that, this sheet and these allocations show in green those organizations that have been provided the new allocations, and then I left the rest blue for vacant, which after the appeal process, there will be like a second. I guess guessing that I will come again to present you guys like the finalized list that will have all the offices filled. But for now, this is like what we're looking at. Yeah, and then for the most part, clubs should just know that to be prepared for the summer and the next coming weeks to prepare for reorganization and to move, just because upon like the auditing that was conducted by maintenance, there is a lot of significant repairs that need to be made to these offices, and the only way that they're going to be able to carry them out is if um, if things are taken out of the offices. So yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much all the information I have for now. And yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions. There's also the contract as well on there for 2024 to 2026.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then, yes, any questions, comments, concerns?
Just wanted to say thank you, Gio. Oh, sorry, Dennis, go for it.
Hey, I just wanted to clarify that the blue means vacant.
Yeah, the blue means vacant. So for instance, if there is, I'm seeing like in like the locker spaces, that means there's 3 available locker spaces, and then for the rest of the office ones, if there's blue, that means there's an available space there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions, can we go ahead and motion to vote on these allocations?
Wait, sorry. Also, just wanted to clarify one more thing, which I didn't think of until now. Does that mean that we'll be accepting applications for these open office spaces, or do they just remain vacant? Do you know, Jonathan/Gio?
So the way that it works is it's only if it's going to be an appeal process. So it really is that process is more so open to current office holders that failed to reapply or just like weren't aware of the reapplication process, or be those who applied and did not receive like the desired allocation and want to appeal that decision.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add if after appeals, sorry, are done, if there is, for whatever reason, any extra office space, we'll definitely fill it and bring that back to council. We won't leave anything in Kirkhoff empty. The need is so high that we'll fill it.
Right. Okay. Thank you all. Is there a motion for the allocations?
I motion to approve the office space allocations for the 2024 to 2026 period.
Second.
No lie motions, Megan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstain, please raise your hands. And with 11 to 0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Okay, before we go into the high speed rail, Iris was able to come back, so I'm gonna just bring it back to that point really quickly because I think that's also a time sensitive matter. And since Iris has to leave soon. Iris, was the 210K from the surplus considered in the BOD allocations?
Yeah, so I'm sorry about the confusion, but basically what happened was I called SGA this morning and then I kind of like asked for an update of account numbers in the situation. And then they, from my understanding, unless I heard something wrong, what is left over of and what is available for me to allocate during the surplus round is $64,680.81. And with that in mind, I try to keep my allocations under that number.
Okay, so then now to Jonathan Weisner, because I slapped you and was wondering how I went about transferring the funds. So we
Yeah,
basically said,
I'll pass to Jessica SGA wise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let me double check tomorrow with Josh and see what the status was of getting that budget transfer sheet done. Because I believe the current allocation is sitting under Office of the President. So if it hasn't been moved over to BOD, we probably just need to help you with that budget transfer sheet. So I will talk tomorrow and we'll get it filled out for you and then we'll just need your signature.
All right, thank you. And in terms of reconsidering the allocations, can someone paste the exact number for me in the chat? And I'm guessing allocations have to.
So add 210 to your
Okay, so just like 210 exactly to the 6 people.
210.
So you're cutting out for me.
210,000.
All right,
Like
thank you.
210,000.
Okay, that's a nice number. All right. And so in terms of reconsidering the allocations, I'm guessing will have to be delayed into next week then while I do the adjustments.
I'm gonna need this emailed because there's people waiting on these for their events. So we'll have to do an email vote.
Okay then.
And I'm sorry, this is what's the framing? This is unfortunate, and this is why I ask questions for votes, not on your side, Iris, but SGA side of what I need to do to ensure that we can do this as smoothly as possible. Because we're already in week 5, and people are planning events for the remainder of this quarter, needed the money, like, and their exact number tomorrow. And so if it needs to be a budget transfer form, which I have this that says otherwise, then I could have done that weeks ago. And so having to do that now, when it's midterm week and I have other things I need to do, is just another layer of another thing on my plate. So we will need to do the reallocation. So I want Iris, you go ahead with the add 210K to that number, do the reallocations, and then we need to get a vote on the table this week, and that will just be an email vote. That basically we'll just set a time people need to vote between so that we can revote for the allocations. Thank you all so much for your time. We'll be moving on to the California high-speed rail.
Hey, so first of all, thank you, Naomi, and Iris, and all the bot folks. I believe Lawrence and Michael have been promoted. This is a letter that the Transportation Equity and Access team from the Facilities Commission has been working on for some time in support of California high-speed rail, and I wanted to give it over to them to explain kind of what this is promoting.
Thank you, Nalaya. Good evening, council members. My name is Michael, and I'm a staffer for the Transportation Equity and Access Committee, like Nalaya just mentioned, in the Facilities Commission. And I'm here tonight to ask for the council's signature on a letter of support for the ongoing California high-speed rail project. Approved by California voters in 2008, the California high-speed rail project aims to achieve the ambitious goal of connecting California's population centers in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and the cities of the Central Valley through an efficient high-speed rail line. When this project is completed, UCLA students and staff will have direct access to high-speed rail through its stop at Los Angeles Union Station. The stop will be only a 25-minute ride away from Westwood on the Metro D line after the Westwood UCLA stop is completed in 2027. The completion of this project would greatly increase accessibility for students commuting to UCLA, allowing for shorter travel times to places where housing is more affordable through stops like Burbank and Palmdale. Housing prices remain a barrier for many students at UCLA, and having this new transit option would greatly alleviate the pressure to live in a location as expensive as West LA. Furthermore, the high-speed rail line would connect population centers to many other UC campuses. This could increase the potential for growth in some of the university's newer campuses that have room for expansion. It would also add a convenient and environmentally friendly option for students traveling to UCLA from other parts of California. students would be able to take an option that is potentially cheaper and faster than traveling by car or plane. Right now, the California High-Speed Rail project is vulnerable due to budget overruns, delays, and recent increases in cost projections. The project will need additional support from California taxpayers as well as funding from the federal government in order to reach completion. Public support needs to remain strong to raise more funds in the future. Calling for the support of this project as a student body will send a message to state officials that students are behind this project. I hope the council will recognize the benefits of this project to UCLA students and to California as a whole and vote to endorse this letter. Thank you for taking the time to consider our letter and let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from council members?
Just wanted to hop in if no one has any questions and say thank you so much, Michael and Lawrence and Cora and all of the folks in T who have been working on this. I know that this is something that's really important. So really, really appreciate your support on it.
Thank you. Okay. Let's go ahead and motion.
I motion for USAC to sign on to the letter in support of California High-Speed Rail. Just to clarify, this would be sent to 3 different offices, so to the governor, our state reps, and also to the UC regents.
Second.
Allow motion bang in seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. Adam, was that an against or just a delayed hand?
No, it was with. Sorry, I was late.
Yeah.
Okay. With a 10 to 0 votes, that is approved. Thank you. All right, moving forward with our next resolution, we have a resolution to ensure the UCLA community's health, safety, and wellness in response to COVID-19.
Can we promote Gwen to present the resolution? Gwen, take it away.
Okay, hi everyone. Is it okay if I share my screen to show the resolution on screen? Yeah, okay, cool. Let me just do that real quick. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah, okay, cool, awesome. So, I am back yet again. In the fall, I presented a resolution called a resolution to ensure UCLA's health, safety, and wellness in response to COVID-19. So, this resolution is meant to be a follow-up due to a lot of the asks on the resolution not really being implemented by UCLA. And also because of certain updates within the past, like 6 to 9 months that have been going on at UCLA and just in the world in general. So, I guess I technically can read it out. It is 32 pages. I am down to read it out and I can go as quickly as possible. But yeah, I don't know if people have opinions on that.
No need to read it out. It was on our agenda on time. Folks had the time to review and consider it, given the emails and DMs that folks received about the resolution prior to the.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I guess I'll just I'll do the main points. And I'll just make sure to read out this first page as well. So, thank you, Nalaya, for putting this on the agenda, and Megan for allowing it on the agenda. And so basically the sponsors are Alicia Verdugo, so the Cultural Affairs Commissioner, Chaying Wong, the Community Service Commissioner, Jonathan Valenzuela Mejia. I don't know if I pronounced the last name right. So sorry. General Representative 3, Adam Tafali, International Student Representative, Sujana Sridhar, Academic Affairs Commissioner, Nalaya Kanuri, Facilities Commissioner, and then Ava Jusim, External Vice President. And then supporting organizations, this resolution, as stated in a couple different public comments, but basically this is a resolution, the joint resolution created by the Disabled Student Union and the Student Labor Advocacy Project at UCLA. So that's why these first two are, bolded and italicized. And then the next two, the next supporting organizations are the Outright News Magazine editorial team, Caller Scholars at UCLA, Autism Advocacy at UCLA, UCLA Sexperts, Afro-Latinx Connection to UCLA, Association of Chinese Americans, the Vietnamese Student Union, Bruin Shelter, UCLA Trans Up, Young Democratic Socialists of America, UCLA, UCLA Association of Indonesian Americans, Students for Justice in Palestine, UCLA, Jewish Voice for Peace, UCLA, Teochew Association at UCLA, Anak Bayan at UCLA, Fem News Magazine editorial team, Pew Scholars at UCLA, Environmentalists of Color Collective, Mecha Shisanshi at UCLA, Westwood Food Co-op, Nikkei Student Union, Mecha Kalmakak, and Nomo News Magazine editorial team. So I'm sure everybody had the opportunity to review this resolution. It's really in depth. It has a lot of stuff on it. Main motivations for the resolution, I'll just scroll down. You should be able to like click on these sections and it'll just take you directly to the section as well. But basically, I can just like read this overview part. So whereas the Undergraduate Student Association Council's highest priority is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the students, faculty, and staff. And whereas the University of Los Angeles, California has a duty to its students, staff, faculty, and the community at large to provide consistent updates and reminders of infectious disease protocols, news, and best practice, as well as free and easily accessible resources for disease mitigation, such as high quality masks and tests, and thoroughly ventilating all spaces. And whereas UCLA's infectious disease management team, or the IDMT, was quietly disbanded in December 2023 with no announcement, despite their statement of purpose saying that, quote, the university must continue to manage our COVID-19 response and recovery efforts with the realization the pandemic and its impact on academic and administrative operations will persist for the foreseeable future. And whereas all students, staff, and faculty deserve to safely access the education and jobs without being under the constant threat of infection from multiple disabling diseases, including COVID-19, measles, tuberculosis, and more. And whereas lack of universal layered mitigation measures, such as high quality masking, thorough ventilation and air filtration, etc., for indoor spaces and crowded outdoor spaces leads to thousands of student, staff, and faculty absences due to illness, having a significant negative impact on learning, livelihoods, and health. And whereas despite evident health risk, the UC system and the state, local, and federal levels of government are demonstrating pervasive negligence in acknowledging the grave severity of COVID-19 and infectious airborne disease. Students, faculty, and staff are forced to attend school and workplace without related protective mitigation measures in place. And whereas inexcusably, the pervasive negligence of the state, local, and federal levels of the government and the UC has directly created the hazardous, perilous status quo for our UCLA community. And whereas the federal government has stated that masking is, quote, not something they get involved in, so the UCLA administration should be, or must be, sorry, taking actions on an institutional level to protect the community. And whereas over 1,000 people have died of COVID-19 each week since August 26th, at the time that I was writing this resolution. So
that was pretty recently. The numbers may have dropped to 500 to 1,000, but those are also, for context, confirmed deaths. So there's a lot that's being underreported, undertracked, and undercounted. And quote, COVID levels are 2 to 19 times higher than numbers being reported around the world, a WHO official said on Friday, January 12th, 2024, citing wastewater data, displaying how state, local, federal, and global levels of COVID continue to be severely undercounted and underreported due to the dismantling of COVID tracking, testing, and reporting, with wastewater data being the most accurate representation of current COVID population levels. And UCLA is directly contributing to this lack of accurate data representation. And whereas, despite COVID-19 levels surging to become the second largest wave so far in the pandemic at the beginning of the 2024 winter quarter, UCLA did not send out a single campus-wide email about COVID-19 news, policies, and resources the whole winter quarter. And whereas the UCLA administration, specifically Administrative Vice Chancellor Michael Beck and Vice Chancellor Monroe Gordon, refused 4 times to make a campus-wide Bruin post on infectious disease, updated health information, COVID-19, or the Disabled Student Union's health promotional initiative that the Ash Center, DSU, the USAC, and admin are currently implementing together. Yeah.
Hey, no,
Sorry.
Gwen, I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to like thank you so much for like all of your thorough work on this resolution. And I wanted to assure you that I promise, like we read the resolution. We were sent to a lot and we definitely like took the time to read it. I can tell you for sure that like I spent the time to go through this, especially because this was a resolution that was important for my office and a little earlier in the year. So I don't want to make you read all of it. Unless you want to, I mean, I'm not going to stop you, but just wanted to kind of
Oh,
pop in.
okay. Oh, no, yeah, thank you. I mean, I do appreciate that. Thank you, Malaya. I would like to read at least the overview because I feel like the overview is like the the point that I would want to make, you know. So if that's possible, then I can read the overview. Okay, cool. But yeah, the administration did not want to announce the initiative that they're paying for. Kind of awkward. And then whereas wealthy, privileged, upper class people and government officials are continuing to protect themselves from COVID at events for themselves through testing requirements, most updated vaccine recommendations, a COVID-19 hotline, frequent disinfection, and quote, state-of-the-art ventilation. And whereas as the US crosses the grim milestone, quote, as the US crosses the grim milestone of 1 million deaths from COVID-19, US billionaires have seen their combined wealth rise over 1.7 trillion, a gain of over 58% during the pandemic. This troubling juxtaposition underscores the story of unequal loss and sacrifice during the worst pandemic in a century. While billionaires have seen their wealth surge, millions have lost their lives and livelihood. And whereas at the time that wealthy people from around the world convened safely, many of them are systematically stripping away COVID protections from everyone else, such as removing paid sick leave for COVID, the federal government stopping the USPS home test delivery, the CDC lowering the 10-day isolation period from COVID-19 to 5 days in 2021, following lobbying from airlines, the CDC ending daily reporting of COVID case and death data, UCLA forcing everyone back in person in 2022, UCLA almost eliminating isolation housing, UCLA removing many PCR testing sites and removing the requirement of a negative test to end isolation, and more, which largely disenfranchises, disabled people, students, poor people, working class people, Black, Brown, and Indigenous people, and people of color. And whereas untracked circulating COVID-19 leads to more viral mutations and immune-evasive variants, such as the JN1 variant derived from the highly mutated BA2.86 variant, where the lack of surveillance and mitigations to stop spread has led to the World Health Organization admitting it is deeply concerned that there is not enough rapid information being shared to truly track and respond to COVID-19 in a timely manner. And whereas the Biden administration alone has amassed over 1.1 million confirmed deaths from COVID during its term, which by its own and all reasonable standards is a horrific failure to fulfill the most basic responsibilities of government. The federal government continues to pretend the pandemic is not a threat anymore to the public at large, while continuing to take their own internal precautions. And whereas after winter 2023-2024, the total cumulative global excess death toll of COVID has reached 28 million people, and excess cases from just this winter in the US reached nearly 100 million. And okay, graph, there she is. And then therefore, let it be resolved. UCLA must uphold its principles of community from the UCLA mission statement, where it claims that, quote, we affirm our responsibility for creating and fostering a respectful, cooperative, equitable, and civil campus environment for diverse campus communities. And let it be resolved, the Undergraduate Student Association Council needs to hold UCLA accountable and ensure UCLA upholds its commitment to providing a space for learning and community for minorities, underrepresented, vulnerable communities by enacting the following asks, as well as commit to engaging with disabled and marginalized communities to inform the work on campus per the slogan, nothing about us without us. Okay, so that was the overview. I'm not going to read through like the whole bunch of the rest of the resolution because I know you guys already read it, but I don't know if you guys saw the statement too, because it wasn't technically linked on the resolution, but oh shoot, sorry, whoa. The statement basically, let me just pull it back up 1 second. The statement basically has like an outline of the asks that are like more summarized basically, because there is also an individual sign-on petition that was circulating. I'll just drop the link in the chat as well. So that's the statement. And let me reshare my screen. Okay, here we are. Statement. Okay, so feel free to read the statement. I also said part of it in my public comment, but I'm just gonna like show you guys the demands. Basically, it's just a summary. Like immediately reinstating the IDMT with at least one undergrad and grad representative. UCLA and IDMT immediately and indefinitely resuming campus-wide boom post updates on infectious disease resources, protocols, and news quarterly at minimum, and also including the health promotional initiative. And then immediately updating UCLA's websites to like update the health information, and then prioritize the messaging of high quality, consistent masking as an effective way to prevent the spread of airborne viruses. And then in terms of long COVID, USAC to commit to and urge UCLA to prioritize structural layered mitigation measures to prevent COVID-19 transmission and prevent additional long COVID disablement. Dedicating a page on the COVID-19 website to long COVID. And then also, we're also calling for an audit of CAE by a non-UC affiliated third party to ensure that disabled students and those continuing to become disabled by long COVID are receiving support. And then also to place the health promotional initiative signage that I'm sure you guys have all seen around campus, the new COVID signage, on university affiliated transportation. And then for fair labor standards and compensation, UCLA and ASUCLA to make a public direct statement to the UC Regents in support of providing and provide at minimum the same protections regarding sick pay, sick leave, and disability leave that workers under AFSCME 3299 receive for student workers, part-time workers, residential assistants, teaching assistants, and all other university ASUCLA workers who do not currently receive those benefits. That the understanding that those are a minimum because AFSCME 3299 protections are not good enough anyways. And then USAC must commit to continue to advocate for expansions on these protections, and also to urge UCLA and ASUCLA to commit to working with students, workers, and faculty to develop policies and programs to advance the rights and well-being of those suffering from long COVID, including providing good quality patient-centered care and all necessary support and accommodations for UCLA students, workers, and faculty with long COVID. In terms of the layered mitigation methods, this is really, really important, like super important for the health promotional initiative specifically. Creating permanent structure for ordering and provision of free N95, KN95, KF94, and surgical masks at all front desk sites in the health promotional initiative, allocating at least $10,000 a year. So I'm imagining that that wouldn't come out of USAC budget, that would just come out of UC administration because they paid for it last time. And then USAC commit to endorsing the health promotional initiative, like in its continuance. And then maintaining all of the current like PCR and rapid test machines and drop-off sites, annual requirement of the most recent COVID vaccinations for everybody with the exemptions based on medical exemption, disability, or religious objection, as is usually provided for vaccinations in general. And then upgrades and maintenance of air filters in residential and campus buildings, because I don't know if you guys have been in the dorms, but unless you're in like a really fancy one, there's no AC, there's no like ventilation. And also expedient action to address workplace orders made for broken HVAC, particularly for food service buildings, so including ASUCLA. And then for housing and isolation, reinforcement of scientifically based minimum of 1 to 2 negative rapid tests to end isolation, and expanding on-campus isolation housing and resuming meal delivery. People don't get meal delivery anymore. And reinstating takeout dining options for the main food halls in recognition of indoor dining being high risk and just not really accessible. And providing maintenance as well to all air filters where there is no HVAC available and where UCLA has not yet upgraded their ventilation. And then in terms of accessibility to education, the disability inclusion training being mandatory for all staff and faculty, regardless of tenure or status, per the California Assembly Bill that's going through a whole bunch of processes right now, called Assembly Bill 2821. And then expansion of Bruincast and hybrid learning access, and the removal of punitive incomplete notations, as like several other resolutions have called for. So yeah, okay. I'm done. And that was a lot, but thank you everybody. I can also like answer questions that people have as well about like the specific people that I'm calling on in the resolution to do these things, in particular, you know, the different administrators, or, you know, any details or questions you have. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council members? Okay. I had a couple questions, but I want to thank you, Gwen, for your work on this. I really do appreciate it. You and others definitely contributed and made a very thorough resolution. I'm just circling back to an email that I was CC'd on in April 8th that basically discussed the expansion of some of the health promotional initiatives, which included the masking. And from that team and from that email with the Ash Center, the lead of the Ash Center, Dr. Michelle, they were basically saying that they don't have the funding to sustain the mass distribution, and then they want to end the campaign around, what was it, the end of June. So who were we addressing to pay for the masking in the resolution?
Right. So, yeah, so Dr. Chaitali Mukherjee is the head of the Ash Center, and then Michelle Satyar is chief of staff. Um, and Michelle was the one that was talking about how basically the health promotional initiative was when it was originally created and then like approved by administration was set to be reassessed in June. Um, and there's been a lot of attempts from the DSU side and ASH to try to be proactive about, okay, if we reassess it and it's like effect, and we're saying this has been a very effective initiative, a very helpful initiative, can we start planning for like its continuance? And one of the issues has been a lack of proactiveness on the part of administration to find ways to support the initiative and not really explaining any of the decisions around that. It just being a very one-sided, like, we can't do that, but we'll assess it in June. But kind of predicting the decision of no if they're saying no right now. So one of the ways that we're trying to address this is I want more, and DSU and Ash and a lot of people want more transparency around these decisions that administration are making, or just like saying, oh, we don't have the funds, and not like basically not willing to meet with us. Like they're like, I've tried to set up a meeting multiple times and they don't want to meet to proactively discuss it. Even though I've like outlined basically the exact same things in the resolution as plans to them. So that's definitely one of the issues that I would appreciate help with, is, like trying to proactively figure out how we can sustain this. If it is something that we feel like can come from USAC funds, that's fine by me, like anywhere. But previously for this initiative, administration did pay for it. And I think that I hold the personal belief that administration should continue paying for it instead of, using money that would otherwise go to other student groups, right? But if we are able to source it from USAC, then I'm open to any ideas that people may have in terms of how to make this like long lasting. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answer on that. I also see in the letter be resolved section of the reinstatement of the IDMT. So my only question with that is that I feel when the IDMT was resolved, votes that were, I guess, juggling adjacent kind of work that the IDMT was doing went to our Student Health Advisory Council, SHAC. And so I'm just wondering what was specifically separated that can't be included into SHAC, which already has an undergraduate and graduate representative.
Right. So IDMT, and I adore SHAC. Like I like sometimes join the meetings and like it's super cool. But the issue with SHAC is that SHAC is not like sending out campus-wide updates. Like IDMT had the power and like the administrative power to be sending out like regular Bruin posts. And so from the communication and transparency side, that's really like what we need. And also SHAC is like an advisory committee, is not making direct decisions about COVID-19 and infectious disease mitigation on campus as IDMT did. So that's another concern that I have, is that like there were so many key administrators in the IDMT, and I'm sure like Janice can speak to that, like because I know that like Janice was, the like undergrad rep on the IDMT. And they all had like a lot of really important perspectives of like how the campus can run, and like how these policies all impact the different parts of campus and everybody's well-being. And unfortunately, like SHAC doesn't have the exact same breadth, and doesn't have breadth, and doesn't have the same communicative power.
Thank you. Okay, Janice?
Yeah, thank you, Gwendolyn. First of all, I just want to say that um, I'm not co-sponsored on this as I was in the previous resolution, and I want to explain a bit why. And I think um, I felt like at some points in this resolution too that we were going kind of, I know like COVID and in general infectious disease management does not happen in a bubble of our campus, but I also think that some of the policies at play are just beyond the scope of um, myself and other USAC council members' roles. And in terms of like funding from USAC, like that's pretty like to explain like how that would work is that like one of our offices would like have to be willing to spend money on that, but I don't think council is like a reliable or like a long-term solution if like that's what you're looking for, Gwendolyn. I wonder if maybe you could find an outside donor or like to continue this conversation because I feel like there's a lot of hesitation with administration, not because they don't care for the well-being of students. As you've said, I worked extensively with them and I've um, left that space feeling like they do care for students' well-being, and if anything are probably like the people that are most informed are like public health officials, our researchers, and our experts in the field, and a lot of the decisions that they're making to discontinue a lot of the the requests, like the demands that are being made, they were all made in good faith and were all made with research behind it. And I actually have some SHAC folks in SWC, and they've also said that, like, for example, UCLA Hospital, I think starting May 1st, so that's tomorrow, is discontinuing masking in like patient spaces. And so, given that, like, I don't and I see you like raise your eyebrow at that. I'm sure like everyone has different opinions about that, but I'm saying that some of these policies are like beyond my scope or beyond, like, these are decisions being made at levels like beyond UCLA. So I don't know if like I said, behind closed doors too, Gwen, like I support this resolution. I Even though I wasn't willing to co-sponsor it at this time, I am in favor of, and this was the same thing that the same reason why I voted in favor of the first resolution, is I support the sentiment and the heart of like what this is like about, of like community care and things like that, but I don't know if I'm necessarily voting in favor to support the practicality or like the feasibility of these demands. And I think that's kind of where maybe as you work with admin, that you need to try to meet them in the middle. I think when they're, you know, set with a 32-page, document, I think that is difficult. I think they have, unfortunately, so many other projects on their mind. So, like, we have to keep it really short and simple for them. And I don't know what their response is going to be when and if they hear that this resolution is passed. I don't know. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
And Gwen?
Yeah, well, I wanted to respond to some of your concerns as well. I do appreciate you saying that you support the resolution. I agree that there are a lot of systemic issues, but I would also want to point out that the other resolutions that were presented tonight also point to a lot of systemic issues that other people can argue like sure like might be outside of scope, or you know what I mean. And I guess I don't really see this resolution as something that like people can't really help with, because I think that a lot of resolutions that get passed by USAC are statements of support essentially, and then like from there, once the resolution gets passed, then like you can go into further conversations. And the different sections of the resolution in the let it be resolved sections have like the specific people listed. Last time, in the resolution in the fall, we tried to list out, like the specific people, but it was, for me, it was my first time making a resolution in the fall with that scope. And I have definitely learned a lot over the past year with working with administration this whole past year, with the health promotional initiative, and like learning a lot more about like the different levels of like UCLA administration and like bureaucracy. So like I feel like the direct administrators that are named essentially only have to look at those sections, if that makes sense. Like um it wouldn't be like I would need to present the entire 32-page thing specifically to, like, I don't know, I'm trying to find someone. But I guess you get my point. Like, for example, like the academic senate is not going to be able to do as much about like vaccines, but that's why the academic senate is only named in this section. So they would only see, or like they would only have to talk about or consider like this for like this 2-page thing. And that's why, like that's why the resolution itself is so long, because I didn't really want to create something that was not expansive enough and then have to present like 4 more resolutions or something, because that's just not like time efficient, I feel like. So there's that. And yeah, I guess
And
I agree that, like, oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you finish your thought.
I was just gonna say that, I agree, like working with administration, that everybody has a lot on their plate. But part of the importance of why we were even able to get the health promotional initiative has been through like, your assistance, Janice, and like the assistance of everyone on USAC who has helped pass this and follow up, and like a whole bunch of like community advocacy. And I feel like that's been like an incredible thing. We wouldn't have otherwise had this initiative. So continuing to show support for that, I think, is really important, and it opens up the conversation for administration to show that, oh, people are still caring actually about this. So yeah.
And thank you. I think I just want to go back to a couple points that you said in that last piece, and that you brought up the other resolutions of tonight. I think when it comes to that, at least let it be resolved section, most, if not all, of those previous resolutions, those things are feasible. I think when we've directly heard, and when I say directly, I mean me specifically, to me in meetings with me and Janice in meetings after the first resolution, what the Ash Center says, what they can and can't do, and to still see that reappear in this resolution is just creates kind of a dissonance for me, and being like, oh, I know they already said no, but what's different and what's going to make them say yes this time? So having that, I know you said that they would only, like for academic senate, for instance, they would only have to read that 2-page. You're still going to be sending a 32-page document at the end of the day, unless you're telling people copy, control F your name or whatever, in that when sending it, folks aren't going to know to just what they have to read. And I don't think if they just read that section, they'll understand like the overview, what's happening, like what led to that point. And so I think even after the first resolution, one of the main comments or concerns before it was presented another time was the length of the resolution. And so I know that that was your first time writing it, but now we're coming back a second time to a resolution that kind of had the same problems that the first resolution had. Yeah, what yeah, that's all I wanted to add, just to give context. And I don't mean to be coming at you, or like this is not personal at all. I just trying to state objectively what I'm seeing. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate those concerns, because it was something I was thinking while I'm writing it. I'm like, okay, this is 32 pages long. It's kind of long. And but unfortunately, thus shows the amount of stuff that the university just isn't doing. You know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily like a reflection on, like me or the DSU, where like slaps creation of the resolution as much as it is like the lack of care. I feel like that's what I would, like want to focus on more, I guess. And my idea was that I'm gonna say when when this resolution is passed, that there would be a lot of meetings. Like I would want to set up a bunch of meetings with all of these administrators because I agree it's hard to get all of the context of the health promotional initiative and this whole advocacy fight from just this resolution when these administrators have so much on their plate. And so that's what's been effective for me in talking to administration is setting up meetings. So they have to agree to set up the meeting first. And then I can show them exactly what's in the resolution and tell them exactly how they can help. But definitely would want to write it all out so that it's transparent, especially since I'm calling for transparency from the university.
100%. Any other comments, questions, concerns from folks, from council members? If not, can we have a motion?
I motion to vote on the resolution entitled "A Resolution to Ensure the UCLA Community's Health, Safety, and Wellness in Response to COVID-19.
I second.
Nalaya motions, Jenna seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 9-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Next, we'll be moving to a resolution to implement course marking at UCLA. Sujana.
Yes. Hi, everybody. So I will assume that everybody also had the chance to read through this resolution, so I won't go through it, of course, in detail, but I did just want to provide context to a few things. First, I know I have defined course marking at a few meetings. I will define it so briefly again, but it's just the practice of marking courses that are low cost or no cost as far as course materials. And so that's not like a standard threshold. It's a threshold that each kind of campus and institution can decide for itself. And this is something that AAC has been wanting to bring to UCLA for quite some time. We have met with the registrar's office, who has confirmed that this practice can be implemented at UCLA. One consideration that I want to be transparent about that is also mentioned on the resolution is that to implement course marking, faculty would need to submit the cost of their course materials by the time that enrollment begins in order for students to actually be able to take advantage of the situation the way that course marking would like it to. And so at present, faculty submit the course materials that they're going to be using much later. Well, it ranges, but some can tend to submit it much later. And so it's just about working with faculty to increase awareness of course marking, and hopefully kind of gain their, commitment to submitting their course materials earlier and just helping them do that. Then the last thing that I want to touch on is just the implementation of Bruin 1 and like how that would overlap with course marking. Definitely the implementation of Bruin 1 is a change from inclusive access, obviously, but it doesn't necessarily like detract from the value of implementing course marking at all. It just empowers students and gives them all the options possible, to decide whether they want to opt in or opt out of that flat fee for the quarter. They may find that the course materials, for their classes are much cheaper if they just buy it separately and opt out of Bruin 1. They might want to just opt for classes that have no cost, course materials at all. And so even though we are implementing Bruin 1, which maybe standardizes things a bit, there is still like a lower tier. There's the option to opt out, and then course marking helps students make that decision with as much information as possible. And so that, I believe, is all that I have to say for the resolution. I'm open to any questions or comments that anybody has.
Any questions, concerns?
Thank
Just
you.
want to say thank you for your work on this. I appreciate it. And if there are no questions or concerns, we can go ahead and motion.
I motion to, wait, can I? No, right?
Yeah, you.
I motion to approve the resolution to implement course marking at UCLA.
I second.
Sujana motions, so I seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstain, please raise your hands. With a 10 to 0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. And now to our last item of today, we have the sign-on letter.
Yeah. So I know that this was a pretty last minute request. So I really appreciate everyone's work on this, but if no one minds, it's one page. I'd like to read it. Just because I do think this is something that's incredibly timely and incredibly important, and I'd also like your guidance in terms of how to disseminate if it is approved today. So let's do this. Dear UCLA faculty and staff, on behalf of the UCLA Undergraduate Students Association Council, we are writing in support of academic leniency for the Undergraduate Students Association as protests continue on campus in response to the Israeli occupation of Palestine. During World War II, there were, quote, massive student and faculty protests, sit-ins, peace demonstrations, and anti-war events, end quote, in response to Japanese incarcerations. May 1969 saw over 1,500 students protest the UC Board of Regents' refusal to let student activists speak about the Vietnam War. In 1985-1986, student activists rallied against the UC Regents' $2.3 billion investment in companies that supported apartheid, culminating in the UC's divestment after 2,000 students chanted outside of Murphy Hall. These are but a few times when students engaged their right to free speech and peaceful protest on UCLA's campus, voicing their dissent. In light of recent events on our campus and those of other universities nationwide, it is imperative that we recognize the ongoing emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual strain on students. To be a university student in 2024 means to be uniquely subject to collegiate careers characterized by social upheaval and war, during which many have bravely chosen to engage in organizing and protest, aligned with our university's long and rich history of student activism in response to administrative actions, nationwide conflicts, and social issues. To bear the burden of international war, personal battles, employment, and academic studies is particularly trying, and students must be granted grace. These measures of academic leniency should be implemented in order to support students as they currently exercise their rights to free speech. Optional in-person or virtual course attendance, recorded course sessions, more flexible coursework extension policies, more flexible exam policies, e.g. online format using Respondus, open book, open note examinations, asynchronous timed exams available for 24 hours, moving exams to later dates, etc., and any other accommodations as necessary. And this is not an exhaustive list. In conclusion, we request professors, faculty, and staff to extend kindness, compassion, and academic leniency towards students as they adjust to and participate in protests on campus. It is an expectation that our university upholds a safe and accommodating space for all students as they choose to engage in political activism and advocacy. Would love to hear any comments or questions, but
Jonathan?
Yeah, I just wanted to voice my full support and thank you, Nalaya, for drafting this as well as everyone else. I think it's really important that we make sure that our students, the people we're here for, the people that elected us, that we're making sure that we're understanding the situations that students may find themselves in and voicing our support for them to have more flexibility. I think fortunately we have a lot of faculty who are alongside students, but just making sure that whoever else, hasn't broadcasted their support for the student body at least caters to the needs of the student body, especially during this trying moment. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? I see some comments in the chat. But yeah, Nalaya, thank you for spearheading this. I definitely agree, and folks do, especially we bounce a lot as students. We also bounce a lot as leaders. So many things are happening right now on our campus that are affecting so many people in so various ways. I think it was a very powerful letter, and I really appreciate your work on this. And I really hope that we can push and make things happen on our end to the best of our abilities in getting some academic leniency from not only the faculty that do support, but also the faculty that don't support as well, and making sure that happens. So yeah, thank you so much. If there are no other comments, can we get a motion?
I motion for.
Janice?
Just kidding.
So sorry. I was just curious what the distribution plan was for this letter, if there was at all. And like how to support.
I'd love to teamwork this, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. I just wanted to know.
So that was where I was going with the comment earlier of like, would love your help with that because I am not sure. Yeah, Sujana, please.
Yeah, I mentioned this in our group chat, I know, but we do have the Undergraduate Council Academic Senate meeting this Friday. And so there, like, because Academic Senate has reached to all faculty, it is definitely very difficult because it requires all the faculty to approve of this. Or maybe not, but we'll see. But they can I hopefully assist with like distributing this to faculty. And at least because like we did all sign on and we at least want it to be distributed, there's like no problem with that. So that's one way we can maybe try.
Love. I think another suggestion was send to departments or admin and collab post for social media. Would love to start with what we can do. So that's like a very obvious like social media post to me. So at least like the students know that so our student body knows that we are doing what we can. And yeah, and then maybe we can move into academic student.
No, I love that. I think that's a good plan. Very solid. Anybody have any other avenues that they were thinking of as well? Okay. Thank you. Oh, Janice, sorry, my bad.
Sorry, I keep catching you like right as you try to move on.
Good.
Sujana, I was just wondering if like possibly as AAC, is there like a spreadsheet of emails or something in case we need to go that route?
Yeah, we actually did create one this year, so I can look at that and use it to distribute the emails as well. Did you like I think you cut out in the middle, but I assumed you meant like departmental emails or
Oh, brother. Yes, I meant departmental emails.
yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, because if as long as we have those, I think that's the hard part. So if we can just like, BCC everybody, then, I feel like we could sit down and do that in an evening.
Yeah. I think I may also have some departmental emails on a doc somewhere because of something Carl was trying to do last year. But if Sujana has one, I bet it's more comprehensive. So with that, can we get a motion?
I motion for USAC to sign on to the academic leniency request letter.
I second.
I motion, Jonathan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10 to 0 vote, that was approved. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for everything that you are doing individually and as a council member. I do appreciate everyone's time and being able to pass these resolutions tonight, and all the work that y'all continue to do is inspiring to me. With that, this meeting is adjourned at 9:17 p.m. Good luck on midterms if you have any, and I know y'all have some essays to write.